Hi everyone. Today we're going to talk about global climate change. What is global climate change? Well, global climate change is usually referred to the current fast changes our planet is going. To understand global climate change, we have to understand the carbon cycle. Well, carbon is the building block of every living organism. Carbon is present in the atmosphere in the form of CO2. How does CO2 get to the atmosphere? Well, all living things breathe. They have a process called respiration, where you take in oxygen and breathe out CO2. Also, this process is reverted. CO2 is taken out of the atmosphere in the process of photosynthesis. All plants, to make food, to make energy, take in CO2 plus water and light to make sugar and oxygen. So plants have a very important deal in the carbon cycle. Ideally, this rate should be the same. The rate taken in and the rate taken out. Or at least it shouldn't change dramatically over time. But why is our CO2 level so high today? Well, that's because of human activity. Humans use fossil fuels, the energy of when living organisms die, and the carbon's buried on Earth. This carbon becomes fossil fuel. It's a very easy, cheap source of energy that we use to drive our cars, to make the factories use as a source of energy, and primarily the source, it's called combustion. You take hexene and oxygen to make CO2 and water. So this is why carbon levels are so high, because we are changing the carbon cycle. We are making more CO2. But why does it matter if CO2 levels are really high? Well, the first deal is temperature. CO2 is what we call a greenhouse gas. It traps all the heat on Earth. So it's kind of like a sauna effect, where the heat is just trapped. So this change in temperature, this increase in temperature, is melting the great glaciers in our planet. Primarily Antarctica and Greenland. Greenland is responsible for 2/3 of all the melting of the glaciers. This water that's melting is rising our sea levels by, according to NASA, 0.04 inches every year. This is a big deal. Also, the increase in CO2 levels are changing our climate. It's creating more severe weather. You have more severe weather today than ever because you're changing a cycle. Well, the first thing I want you to understand is the importance of the carbon, the importance of CO2 levels. What can you do to decrease CO2 levels? What you can do is reduce combustion. You can reduce combustion by choosing to drive to school, by choosing to bike to school, choosing to buy a more efficient car, a car that will take less hexene and produce the same amount of energy. The second thing is I want government regulations. I want a government that worries about CO2 levels, aside from economic issues and the money that it costs to reduce these CO2 levels. We can do this by pressuring companies to install efficient filters to reduce the emission of CO2 levels. It is possible. So, now that we understand the importance of CO2 levels, I want you to think about it and make the changes that we need for a better Earth for not only this generation, but the next generations. Thank you.